and welcome to this page. I wanted to come and just share a little bit about why it may be that you have been engaging in various healing practices from the Reiki to somatic breath, so many things, and you're not really finding the kind of results that you're looking for. And what I would like to offer is a reason that you're not perhaps finding the kind of healing or the kind of lasting change that you're looking for when you are engaged in a healing practice is because there is not alignment or agreement with all of our energetic bodies. An example that I would give would be like if there were a boat and the boat dropped anchor. The anchor is in the back of the boat and you're trying to move forward. That anchor is going to be holding you back and you're not going to really see too much movement. The same thing can be said about addressing every aspect of ourselves, which includes the spiritual body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the physical body. What we're looking for is agreement amongst these bodies so that all of the energy is aligned and we're all going in the same direction and experiencing that lasting change that we're looking for. What I'm going to be doing today is offering a description of how each of these bodies work, an overview of how each of these bodies work and what they're responsible for. And I'm going to come back. I plan to come back later in the evening and just do a practice where we're addressing each of these energetic bodies and experiencing the alignment and the release. The first one I'd like to talk about is going to be the mental body. So that I want you to consider first choose what it is that you're looking to change in your life, and then ask yourself, and really listen for the answer, but ask yourself, what are my beliefs about this subject? How willing am I to actually change? I'm sure that you would have heard that there are 60,000 thoughts that we have a day, but most of them, the overwhelming majority of the thoughts are the same thoughts from the day before that, and the day before that. So we're habitually thinking the same thoughts over and over again. And when we focus on what it is that you're wanting to change about yourself or your life, be mindful that the thoughts are reinforcing the beliefs, that you go out into the world and you're just observing how people are, how the world is, and having thoughts about these things. And that's just reinforcing whatever it is that you already believe. So are you willing to have a new belief system? Are you willing to have another thought? If so, you're open to that alignment, you're open to that change. Another question I would ask is, how self-aware are you? Because oftentimes, and it's may sound strange, but it's true, is that we can be having thoughts playing in the background, but maybe because they're so common to us, they're so familiar to us, we may not even realize that we're having those thoughts. So becoming self-aware, being in a position to observe the thoughts that you're having, that is really going to go a far, long way in helping you get into that alignment and achieve that change that you are looking for. We're next going to move on to the emotional body. In the case of the emotional body, I don't know if you've heard this before, but our thoughts, our repetitive thoughts, are actually working to stimulate different emotions inside of us. So that if the thoughts are of a lower frequency, when our thoughts are of a lower frequency, it's going to create this feeling inside of us that's not so nice. That feeling that's not so nice is what's happening with the emotional body. So I'm going to ask you, are you aware of how you are feeling? How often do you check in with yourself and just notice how you are feeling? The thoughts are creating these emotions, and the emotions are simply energy. And what happens is different energies do become stuck in our bodies, so that we would want to be releasing the different energies so that we can have the change and have that lasting change, because the emotional body can be in line with the other body, energetic bodies. So we're having these thoughts, we're experiencing the emotion that is cultivating. So by and large, we are in control of how it is that we are feeling from moment to moment, from day to day. As long as there is that awareness, as long as there is that awareness, you have a degree of control over what your emotions are, what it is that you're thinking about yourself and about the world and about your body. You're on the right track. There's also this other element that can come into play where there are just, it's going to sound strange, but they're just, I'll say it this way. Other people can sometimes have an effect on our emotions with the energy and how strong their energy is compared to what we're carrying, so that they can come into our presence. They can be thinking about us. They can send a thought towards us. And all of a sudden, because we're all connected, we're going to pick up on that energy, and it can impact the way that we're feeling. But I'll leave it there. So in the case of wanting to heal something that's physical, what you're going to want to remember is how it is that you are thinking about that physical condition, how it is that you're feeling about that physical condition. What are the recurring thoughts and feelings? Again, the emotions are energy in motion, and they can become stuck inside of our bodies and create an ailment of some sort. What I would invite you to do is to look at Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, where she does go into depth about that very thing. How there are things, emotions, thoughts that we're carrying that are manifesting themselves as some kind of physical condition. Next, we're going to move on to the physical body. So we have the thoughts that are creating the emotions, and the emotions are having positive or negative impact on our physical body. Again, I want to reiterate that when the energy becomes condensed as a function of repetitive thoughts, as a function of repetitive emotions, something has to show up. When we're not releasing that energy, something has to show up. So how willing are you to accept that these things could be a reality? I would invite you to just really consider it and then decide what it is that you're going to choose to believe. But deciding what's going on in your body, what are the thoughts you have about it, what are the emotions that are going on around it, and what is your perception of whether or not you can cure it, heal it, whether or not it's possible for you. But just being aware that these things are inside of our body. And what I have observed in my different practices is when we allow ourselves to get still, to scan the body and just notice what's there, it can show up as some type of tightness. It could be a different temperature. You might even perceive it to be, big or small, but it's there inside of the body. And as we're releasing, sometimes that release can feel like a pain. It can feel like a pain or a tension. Something is happening. Literally, it's happening inside of the body, but that's simply the energy as it is escaping through your healing. So when you are able to just accept that there's more to our experience than what we can see, but that the thoughts and the emotions are showing up in our physical bodies, and there is a way for us to release them, release the energy, release the energetics of it. How willing are you to, I would use the term face it. How willing are you to simply face that this is what's happening and open yourself up to that release? When I say that, I can sense that some people would feel a little bit fearful about what it is that's lurking inside of the body, what's actually happening, and also maybe a little hesitancy to face or to experience that, as well as the different things that go on with the emotions. Lastly, we're going to talk about the spiritual body. So we all have a spirit, we all have a soul. The soul was, depending on what you believe, but what I believe is the soul is here having this human experience, and all experience are just experiences. We are the ones with that mental body that dictate, okay, this is good, okay, this is bad. But the spirit simply is. We can get in touch with that spirit, with that aspect of our souls through things like meditation, through things like prayer, through just being still. Each of our spirits, each of our souls has their own calling, they have their own desire for what it is that they're wanting to experience. And when we are able to receive that message and be in communication and just have that understanding, and from the human aspect, able to communicate that back to that other aspect of ourselves, and we can be in agreement. We can be in agreement with what it is that we're wanting to do. That's when the healing, the true healing, is going to take place. Inside of the description box, I've given a written description of some of these concepts that I've presented orally for you today. If you found this information to be interesting, if you have your own insights, I do invite you to leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and there is a link for my Facebook group that I'm starting, where we are going to be looking at the different aspects of our energy bodies and getting those into alignment and working on the healing. We're going to be just looking at the energies as they present themselves, how it is that we may have come upon a negative perception of the energy just existing, and working on healing those aspects of ourselves. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, bye-bye.